Monday afternoon out in the parking area at Tortola in the British Virgin Islands. Got off the sailboat after a week of sailing about an hour ago. Just got out to the plane, getting ready to get fueled. Already cleared customs here in BVI. Fantastic week. I did have one request when I left my plane here. I just said, hey, I need to make sure I'm parked. Into the wind when I'm getting ready to take off because of a starting limitation with a tailwind. Of course, if you hold on, if you look out here, every jet out here parked into the wind. Vision jet next to me, parked into the wind. Me, right up the old tail. So we'll get that turned around and get fueled up, and then we'll get ready to take off out of here. Okay, so this is where the title of the video comes in and I start to get a little bit salty. There's a known wind issue here, and when I talked to the HondaJet factory pilot about coming in here, it was really specific to say, hey, you've got to get parked into the wind. He had the same problem when he came in here, and so I made sure that that was in my request. I don't mind working with a handler, but when I looked at the fees that were associated with this for somebody who was literally not willing to either honor the request or to help me turn the plane around, and I was dropping close to $2,000 to get called a couple of names by them. Yeah, I did leave there a little bit salty and was pretty much looking forward to taking off and putting Tortola in the rearview mirror, despite it being a really fantastic week there. But I did learn a lot, and this is about the learning process of flying internationally. And I did a lot of studying, and it was very helpful. But there were a couple of resources out there that were head and shoulders above the others helpful. And the one I really want to talk about is called FlashPass. And I'll put the website up, the contact information for them up right now. This is a group that essentially organizes the communications between you as the pilot in command, the certifications around your aircraft, talking to Customs and Border Patrol, filing your electronic advanced passenger information system requests, and making sure that everything has been identified and confirmed before you go. And so they were fantastic, and they have an app, mobile app that you can use to ensure that you keep with all of your information, and that when you're ready to depart, going back to the United States, making sure you're talking to Customs is a lot more critical than when you're departing. One of the other things that popped up while I was there was something I hadn't heard about before, was CARICOM, which is a completely different system by which your flight plan has to be filed. And the FlashPass folks reached out to me, and they made sure that my flight plan and all my information had been shared via CARICOM. So the only thing I would say is, choose carefully, look up all your information, make sure that you've read all the notes, and that you don't wind up with a $2,000 bill for no help. This is our approach into Turks and Caicos. I wish we had taken the time to put up a camera or two as we were on this relatively short flight, but candidly, it was pretty hectic getting out of Tortola with the handlers we had, getting the jet turned around, and pretty busy traffic in and out of the islands. So we just used the iPad to capture some footage and wanted to pass along some of our lessons learned on this part of the flight. Winds are pretty strong out of the west during the winter months, so we knew that we wanted to have an interim stop before we came back into the U.S. It allowed us to head further up the East Coast, and we took the time to put the cameras up and video the flight from Turks and Caicos into Charleston, South Carolina, where we cleared customs. We'll have that footage up in a week or so. One of the best parts of this flight was working with the controllers in the Caribbean. Specific shout out goes to the San Juan centric controllers, who were absolutely phenomenal. They cover a huge piece of geography, a really broad spectrum of aircraft going into large and small airports all over the place, and they just do a really good job handling the traffic. You know, when you've been talking to controllers most of your adult life, when you hear people that are on top of their game, and the San Juan folks absolutely were. I'd never been into Turks and Caicos before. It was phenomenal terrain. The water, the islands were just absolutely beautiful, and it was a fun approach. I'll put the approach plate up here real quickly, and you can see what it looks like. Advice that we had gotten coming into here was to plan for a hold, and the reason is that they don't have any taxiways at Turks and Caicos. A lot of traffic, a lot of commercial traffic going in and out, major carriers from the U.S. and other countries going in and out, and they have to back taxi on the runway. So usually a lot of delays or in separation for aircraft. It wasn't really a problem for us. I did get a couple of turns in the hold, which was great. The HondaJet handles that pretty well, makes it a video game. But I was also able to check that off on my IFR currency to make sure that I don't lapse anytime soon. Best part of the trip as we came in here was dealing with the FBO. Uh, Very nice facility, professional. They honored our fuel programs. They had already been talking to the Flash Pass team and made sure everything was pretty well coordinated. And it was a great stop off. I did get a little behind on our itinerary, and on the next leg of the flight had to coordinate to make sure that I made our customs time. Thanks so much for flying along. I know this is a little bit of a different video, and hopefully it'll spark some conversation in the comments, some learning that I had, and hopefully some questions that you all have. We've got more content coming that's in cockpit with the cameras going, and look forward to seeing you back on Blue Max 6.